quite offensive, very offensive questions to victims of psychiatrists that the commissioners have asked of us. Now, being confronted with this, we have to move through those feelings of wanting to speak very and write very emotively. And we have to do that to some degree, but at the same time, this is going to the court, so we've got to have some decorum. You get your foot hit by a hammer a number of times, and if a torturer did that to you again and again and again, and your government told you that was good for you, well, this is what we're dealing with here. We're being victims of psychiatrists are people who are dragged off, arbitrarily detained, forcefully injected and subjected to a series of torture, and then told that they must agree that that is good for them, or they'll never get fresh air, they won't have visitors, they won't have access to writing equipment, even a pencil and paper. And they're unlikely to get access to a lawyer either, which is a massive breach of human rights. Not that our legal system is set up to in any way confront the government about their state territory sanctioned torture. And we're talking about Victoria only, so that it's a state sanctioned torture under the Victorian Mental Health Act 2014. So the third question they asked, I've gone through 1 and 2 on previous videos. What is working well and can be done better to prevent suicide? Well, I think that was very obvious that to say that the mental health system is working well in any way is defeating the point of understanding that it is an exploitation act that we don't want. We don't want forced psychiatry. It's one thing to talk about nanny states, where certain toxins and things are being stopped, which I actually think is a good thing. I don't want smoking in public places. Now, I get a lot of flack for that, and I used to have to put up with smoking in the psych wards and smoking in the court areas, which gave me massive allergy reactions. And I also had to put up with psych nurses who wanted to tell me that smoking might calm me down. And all I was trying to say is I want access to a lawyer. I want to be free. Now, this is a violation of my human rights. And if that needs to be calmed down, that's kind of ridiculous, and the way they kept offering me cigarettes was also ridiculous. But that's changed somewhat now with the smoking laws. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about people being dragged into spaces that are toxic for them. Not only that, they're being forcefully injected. So if you have someone who has a severe allergy to personal products, and there are many people who go into an anaphylactic shock with personal products, they get dragged into a psych ward, go into anaphylaxis. They get injected with psych drugs, go into anaphylaxis. This is just but there's also people who have sensitivity to those, just those products. Everybody has a sensitivity to neuroleptics. No one is not affected badly by neuroleptics. Neuroleptics shut the body down. That's what they do. That's what that class of drug does, and that's what's given to people by force under the Victorian Mental Health Act. So you want to prevent suicide, right? And yet you still want to force psychiatric drugs. Now let me tell you about that being disabled by a system so that you cannot even speak, you can't write, you can't do this, and also it's excruciatingly painful. You're getting nosebleeds from these things, you're falling over, you're getting epilepsy, you have never had microseizures in your life, and suddenly these drugs are causing it. You can't stand up for more than 2 minutes. As a woman, you've lost your blood flow just like suddenly, and you don't get it for years and years until that drug is stopped, or however long they take to stop the drug. It's just but the pain of the neuroleptics, and being a laboratory specimen, it is a fate worse than death. So obviously suicide becomes an option there. It's like, well, hang on a sec, how do I escape forced psychiatry? How do I escape this government regime? I can't even get access to a lawyer. There seems no justice. We have the UN, the United Nations, come in with the CRPD and say, Australia, you should stop forced psychiatry as a violation of human rights. So we have that kind of backup. We have some writers that have written books that potentially could be given to us in a situation like that, but when you don't even have access to a book and your sight's blurred from the drug, and even if you could, if your sight wasn't blurred, your thinking ability to concentrate and read is suddenly gone. Just horrible. So in a situation like that, they send you some person, co-opted peer support person who tells you, just take the medication and do as they say. And, does that stop you from just thinking, well, that's not my life. I don't want to be like this the rest of my life. What a person in that situation needs is access to justice, but we're under a government regime. So until forced psychiatry is abolished, until there's some understanding and the types, these questions that are so offensive, they shouldn't be asking. I mean, that question is worded so to say that what's working well? Nothing. Nothing is working well because the government keeps giving money to the white coats, and these white coats are the fifth highest pay packet in the country through the taxpayers' funds. They get the money, they spend it on exploiting people more and getting money from the pharmaceutical companies and exploiting people for human research. Now, I had 14 years of this. This is, I was almost going to swear, absolutely diabolical, destructive to my life. Now, there are not many people who get free from that. That's the point. It's a lifelong thing. And if they get you while you're a child, then that's like it's this massive intrusion on your life. So and when you're young, thinking of ways around a government regime. And all the people that are indoctrinated that tell you, it's care and it's help, and you know damn well it's not. You can feel it with every muscle fibre. What they're doing to you is just horrible. If it was care and help, you would be willingly going to see these people. You wouldn't have to be indoctrinated. You wouldn't have to be held. It's just ridiculous. Anyway. So ridiculous question, offensive question. That's how I would look at answering it.